Hey, what's up, guys? This is Tom here for CasualTCG, and I don't know if you are familiar with Magic the Gathering and the Magic the Gathering YouTube community, but a very popular series of videos on YouTube for Magic is when pro players play arena matches in Magic, which is essentially drafting. They'll go on Magic Online, they'll draft whatever the new set is, and they'll show their decisions when they're building the deck and also the decisions while playing the games to improve as players and also to help the community improve. So I thought, and I'm sure someone else has done this before, I'm almost certain, if this hasn't been done before, then, please strike me dead. But I wanted to go through an arena run in Hearthstone, one of my favorite, casual card games, and talk about my picks, talk through all of my picks, then talk through my games, see where I go, and see what I need to do to get better. Obviously, I'm not a pro player. I'm not even a good player. I would say Mike is a good player. He's a good Hearthstone player. He's not a pro player. He's not the greatest player, but he's good. I am not good. And, as a casual player, I don't necessarily want to even be good, but I wouldn't mind being better. And I think that's what this whole channel is all about. It's about enjoying the games we play while trying to be a little bit better at them. So, I wanted to go through an arena run, talk through my picks, and just go from there. We'll see how we do. So we should be ready to go. It's 150 gold coins to join an arena run. Okay, so the first thing that sticks out to me here is Paladin. Obviously, Paladin is very strong in arena. It has been for a while, ever since Shielded Minibot and Mustered for Battle. It's just a very powerful, sort of mid-rangey deck. You have a lot of options there for building a good creature-based strategy, and arena decks are going to be creature-based. You're not going to be able to build a combo deck in arena. You're not going to be able to build a control deck in arena, really. You might be able to build a stall deck, but not anything close to a control deck. And on the other hand, you're probably not going to be able to build an aggro deck either. You kind of have to deal with what is given to you. So a lot of decks end up being mid-rangey, creature-based decks, which is fine, and that's kind of the appeal of limited formats in card games in general. But the Paladin, I think, plays well to what you want in an arena deck. Warlock, not so much. They have some interesting cards for aggro. They have Dark Peddler. They have the Imp, the 2/4 Imp, I forget his name. They have a lot of cards that really deal with things on the board and get things out early, and their hero power is probably one of the best in the game. But probably not that good in arena. Priest is an interesting deck that I don't think I've ever actually played in arena, so I might want to try that out just to learn it. But, I mean, for my first Hearthstone arena run video, I may want to just go with the proven known quantity here. Okay, so this is a tough choice between three cards. The first is, I think Argent Watcher is actually a pretty good card. I think Argent Watchman is not that bad. Yeah, it's a 2-drop 2/4 that doesn't do anything. But, especially as a Paladin, I'm going to be hero powering a lot, so the Aspire trigger is going to go off. Inspire, excuse me. I think there are better things I could do at turn 2 with a Paladin deck, so I don't think I want to first pick this. Competitive Spirit is a good card. I think this is probably first pick worthy. But Wobbling Runts is one of those cards that I've never played with. It came out in the newest set, and I just haven't touched it at all in any way, shape, or form. So I feel like this could be an interesting card to top off a weenie strategy, but you know what, I'm just going to go with it. This is a bad example of a pick, because I would not normally pick this card, but I want to see what it does. I want to see how it works. So we're going to go with Wobbling Runts. Okay, so obviously I'm going to pick Shielding Minibot. That's like one of the big reasons you're in Paladin. Yeti is really good too, and Dragon Sorcerer is not bad either, but I'm going to go with Shielded Minibot. So this is a difficult one. I don't really want to pick Devilsaur because it has a beast requirement to make it actually good, and I don't have any beasts in my deck. If this was 28th pick and I had a ton of beasts, hell yeah, I'd pick this up. But I'm feeling like Redemption is a better pick for now. Okay, so I can get Puddle Stomper or Stormwind Champion. Eye for an Eye is one of the worst cards in Hearthstone, so I think I'm going to pick Stormwind Champion. You know, Puddle Stomper's not bad. It does have a relevant keyword, but it's just not that good compared to what I can draw. I usually prefer 2/3s over 3/2s in Arena anyway. Um, but I'll go Stormwind. Okay, so once again, we have no mechs. I don't want to force mech, so I don't think I want to play Tinkertown. Oh, well, we have one mech. We have Shield Minibot. I forget that guy's a mech sometimes, even though it's in his name. But honestly, I'm thinking of going Gnomish Inventor. Unless I was really going some Murloc kind of strategy, I wouldn't pick Murloc Tiny Fin ever. Or I guess some kind of weird, just flood the board with shit deck, but that's not really my deck right now. So I'm thinking of going Gnomish Inventor. Although Tinkertown Technician is a way better card when you have mechs. So do I want to see... What's the chance I draw more mechs is the question. I don't know. I'd rather just go with the thing I know is going to be good. And this is a tough call because I already have some late drops. I could go Gadgetzan Jouster, but he's like not 50%, but you know, it's probably going to be way less than 50%. I mean, way more than 50%, but there's a high chance that this guy's just a shitty 1/2, whereas this guy is always going to be a 2/4 in terms of overall power and toughness. So I'm probably going to go with that. Although Hammer of Wrath isn't horrible. Like, it's not a horrible card in Arena. It's not good in Constructed. It's been completely wiped out of Constructed, but it's... I generally don't think it's that bad in Arena. But I'm going to go with Razorfin Hunter just because... Okay, so I'm going to go... See, so Dragonhawk Rider is pretty good, but he's going to get wiped out. Scarlet Crusader is often a 2-for-1 unless you're playing against Mage or Druid or Rogue. So I feel like I should go for it. Devilsaur, I'm not picking him for the same reason. I'm going to go Scarlet Crusader. Tiny Fin, same reason. Snapjaw and Owl, I think, is actually an interesting pick. Or decision, I mean, because Snapjaw is a really good card in Arena. It's just... It deals so much damage in the long run. It'll end up killing so many things if the opponent lets me. Whereas Owl is sort of a late game card that'll come in and say, you know, whatever. I mean, it's basically like destroy target creature, especially in specific instances. You know, against Egg, against those imps, against Thaurissan, against a lot of cards you just want to shut down. This just basically makes them irrelevant. I mean, obviously in Thaurissan's case, he's still a 5/5, but in this deck, I'm thinking of going Snapjaw just to give me that guaranteed stuff. Now, Blessing of Wisdom, I think, is actually a great card if you don't have anything early on. Like, if they throw down a Zombie Chow and you just toss it on their Zombie Chow and let them hit you a couple times, it's basically an Ancestral Recall, which is fantastic. But the chances of that happening and the cards that I'm picking currently don't really align itself with that. So I'm going to go with Huge Toad. I think this card is amazing. It's just the Murloc Tidehunter with extra value. I don't think Cobalt Guardian is bad, but it also has the mech qualifier, and I don't have a mech, or I don't have many mechs. Ancient Mage, it just isn't good in Paladin, I don't think, because I don't really take advantage of spell damage, so I'm gonna go with Mustard. So here's another question. I mean, I don't really take advantage of spell damage in this deck. I don't expect to, and Tidehunter is a 3/2 for 2 essentially, with overall power and toughness, and I already have enough 4-drops. Well, I don't have enough 4-drops, but I have a lot of 4-drops. So I like Tuskar Jouster. I think he's a good card, a 5-drop 5/5 that may drop, maybe heal me for 7. But Defender is just good. Is there any place? I mean, like Defender and Runts, I think is good. Defender. Because these are both sort of like comeback cards. These are both. I think because this is potentially a 4/5 for 4 with a bunch of taunt, whereas this guy's just a 5/5 for 5 that gives me 7 health, potentially. So I'm gonna go with Defender, just for value's sake, I guess. I'm gonna go with Avenge because I'm not a big fan of Humility. I'd much rather get the Ardent Law dude, the policeman. And Wind Fury Harpy is good. I don't think Wind Fury Harpy is a bad card, especially in Paladin where I can buff them up and get some crazy damage. But for a 6-drop, I don't know. I know I'm rocking Wobbling Runts, but I don't know. I'm kind of looking for better cards in the 6-drop slot. I may hurt myself doing this, but I'm gonna pick Avenge. Okay, so we have a couple other cards here. I'm actually a big fan of Worgen just as Worgen, you know, as a threat. I think this guy does more psychological damage than it does physical damage. In that you play him and the opponent goes, oh shit, I'm gonna get hit by, you know, 8 damage right now, and it doesn't end up happening because they spend all their resources just trying to prevent that. But in doing so, it becomes a 2-for-1 in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? It makes them do things that they wouldn't normally want to do, and I think that's a good card psychologically. Dragon is just as good as any other card that prints other cards when it comes into play, in my opinion. I think it's pretty good. And Hungry Dragon is just iffy. I don't know. I like Hungry Dragon, but it's not the card for this deck, I don't think. I think I'm going to go with Organ for that potential threat. Oh, so this one sucks. This one really blows. Jesus. You know, I'm gonna go with Repentance. Not, I mean, I actually like Hero, Hand of Protection. I think Hand of Protection is a good card. It essentially says, you know, this guy you have, this creature, becomes a free removal spell. You know, 1-drop removal spell, depending on their power and toughness. And obviously, it's not as good as a 1-drop removal spell, but you can use it like that. Like I wouldn't use this defensively. I'd use this offensively. I'd put it on my Stormwind and then kill, creature with 6 toughness. So I'm gonna go with Repentance, even though I talked about that. I'm just gonna go Zombie Chow. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit just because there's no ones that are really obvious, but I don't think this one's really obvious. Well, I think it is to a certain extent. I'm gonna go with Direwolf Alpha. I just have enough little guys to make Direwolf more like a 4/2 for 2. And Novus Engineer is good, but I'm not really... I think it's best in those kind of strategies where they just need a thing on the board and want more cards, and that's not really my deck. And this guy's good, so I may go this guy, but I already have so many 3-drops, so I'm gonna go Alpha. So this is where I sort of kick myself for not having taken the Harpy, but I'm probably gonna go Blessing of Kings. I don't really play that card that often. I mean, I could go Bluegill. I guess that's an option, but once again, I'm like sort of shooting myself in the foot wanting better cards. It's really hard to evaluate these cards. Well, not Ice Rager. I mean, okay, so Ice Rager is better than his other guy, his 5/1 counterpart. But I still don't think he's that good. He doesn't really trade up. He has low toughness. And yeah, he puts the opponent in an awkward position, but at the same time, it's just such a weak body. I don't know. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. I guess I'll go Bluegill just because of my curve. I want to have more 2-drops and 4-drops. But now it's sort of shooting me in the foot. I think Maiden in the Lake is a good card. I think it prints out little dudes better, and I like that. Honestly, Equality is just a good card here. It's gonna be my only spell, or one of my only spells. That's not a secret. I really do like Scarlet Purifier. I think he's a good card. He's obviously like there to keep specific cards out of the meta. You know, it's there to counter Death Rattle aggro. And you know, Death Rattle aggro sort of died once they nerfed Undertaker, but still. Emperor Cobra is a good card too. I think he's a good sort of mid-game card to counter out some of their bigger creatures. But Equality does the same thing and costs less. You know, I think this just is a better card for what I want to do. Honestly, I'm much more into Fairy Dragon. A Fairy Dragon on the board can actually win you the game if they just don't have any drops 2 to 4. You know, if they're relying on spells through those early turns, this guy just does a lot of work. Obviously, they're not going to because it's Arena, but I'm still going to pick them, mostly because of my curve, but we'll see. Okay, holy shit. So this is an interesting draw. I'm going to pick Cavalier, whatever, Viking guy. I'm going to pick Viking guy because he just gets out of control. I think of him more like a 7-drop 6/6. But he's potentially a 5-drop 4/4 if they don't have anything on the board, or if I have Maiden of Battle out already, or Maiden of the Lake, excuse me. There are a lot of ways to make this guy really, really good. This guy is actually very similar, not as good, but you know, in this, I'd rank them similarly. They're Inspire cards that just get out of control if you leave them on the board. So obviously, Raider's gonna win you more games than Silverhand, but still really good. And Blessing of Kings is a really good card as well, but I'm still gonna go with Raider. So this is one of those awkward positions where, do I have many beasts? 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I'm gonna pick Devil Soar just to see if I get any more beasts. We'll see. Hopefully it won't actually affect my choices, but I'm gonna go with Lance Carrier. I think that's a good card in general. I'm gonna go with Peacekeeper for obvious reasons. It fills in my 3-drop slot and also destroys late game cards. Priestess of Elune I'm gonna pick up because I don't have enough late game cards, and it also is, it's not a comeback card, but it definitely is sort of a round out the whole thing card. Now this is a tough choice because I really like Max Tank and I really like Ardent Protector. But I need more late game, I think, right? I have maybe 3 late game cards. So I'm going to pick up one more. Oh, and I probably shouldn't have then, because now I'm going to get Ogre, but Ogre's still good. Should I pick up Hammer of Wrath? No, I'm going to pick up Ogre. And I think in terms of removal, I can rely more on the True Silver Champion. And the Mustard. Oh, should I pick Mustard or Sun Fury for my last pick? Oh, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. If I pick Mustard, I mean, I already have Mustard. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to pick Sun Fury. Just forget that. I already have an Ardent, but I already had a Mustard as well. So this may not be the perfect deck, but we will see how I do. And, you know, click on the annotation at the end of this video to see my first match.